I've spoken with my longtime friend Tiago Tavares from Brazil. He has a web design agency called TopDesignTeam.com, and they provide outsourcing services to companies and organizations all over the globe. We have spoken about why Brazil should be an option when companies and organizations are thinking about outsourcing. What are the challenges? What are the benefits? How to address the challenges as well? So very, very good conversation. We went deep into why Brazil can be an outsourcing destination as well. Hello, Ederson Oliveira here. This is another interview for the Outsourcing podcast, and today I have with me my longtime friend, Tiago Tavares from Brazil. Welcome, Tiago.
Hello, Ederson. I am very glad to be here talking to you, my friend.
Very good, very good. How about we start? You start by saying what types of services do you provide? What is your organization providing to your clients?
Okay, well, basically, our main work focus is on web design, web development, and the site management in all its aspects of the services. Basically, we provide our services on the CMS like WordPress, DNN, Business Catalyst from Adobe, and we also work with Joomla and Drupal, but in a much smaller scale. We also do graphic design when needed, but it is a minor part of the work that we provide. Logo design, folder, and publicity materials. Our major focus is design, but we also do some development on e-commerce, creation or some data collection forms, some real estate systems, small stuff for small business most of the time.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll just mention a little bit about the past that we have together. We have worked together for a few years. We have worked from 2007 to about 2010, 2011, and I worked a lot with Tiago from a web design standpoint, and that's really an aspect that he shines through. But that's just a side note about my past with Tiago here. So let me ask you this, Tiago, what's your usual client profile? What type of clients do you have? What type of clients outsource work for you and your organization?
Okay, most of our clients are small and medium-sized business. I personally do not like to work with big companies. Of course, I do work sometimes, but most of the time I work with small and medium-sized business for a very specific reason. It's more like a strategy that I put forward. Because let's say if I have, let's say, 20 clients, I am much less dependent if one or two of them go out, if one of two of them stop of being clients. But let's say if I work with big clients, I will not be able to work with such a scale. So I would have maybe 4 or 5 big clients. And if one of them go out, I would be in big trouble because in a profit of values point of view, it keeps me more or less more vulnerable in the case of the fluctuation of my current client portfolio. So small and medium for a very good reason.
Got it. I understand that. Perfect. So I didn't mention that, but I think that we didn't mention that yet. But where are you located?
Okay, I am located in an extremely hot place called Fortaleza, Ceará. It's in the northeast area of Brazil, and we are here almost below the equator line, so a lot of sun.
Perfect. And again, just a side note again, I'm from the same city originally as Tiago is. Let's talk a little bit about, because a big component about outsourcing, Tiago, I think it's about being able to communicate well. And I have worked a lot with Brazilian companies, with Brazilian freelancers, with Brazilian outsourcing providers. And one of the challenges, I would say, and I want to hear your opinion about that. One of the challenges is a bit about communication. And I can speak Portuguese, that's fine. It's okay for me. It's not a problem for me. But then when it comes to letting the outsourcing companies or the outsourcing professionals to talk directly with clients, that used to be a bit of a problem, because English is a bit of a barrier there. So talk to me a little bit about that problem. If you see that as a problem or not, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes, it is a big issue. It is a big problem because we have several layers of communication. The easiest ones communicate by email or just by Skype, let's say a Skype chat or any sort of chat. These kind of communications are more or less okay, even that we have difficulties with it. I'm not talking about me, but the persons that we bring to work with us. So for this type of reason, I prefer to centralize all the communication with a person that has a lot of experience dealing in communication with clients. On this particular case, it's me. You will have a lot of trouble finding people that can have a conversation like we are doing right now with clients, and it is an issue. But if you have someone that is kind of a project manager, it's not a problem. This person can translate everything that is there, communicate and manage the project. So if you, let's say, if you have a freelancer team of people or 4 people, if at least one of them communicate well, it can make the whole team work perfectly, very nice. So it's not an issue if someone does, but you can, most of the time, you will not be able to rely on your other partners, in your other web designers to work with you in this communication process.
Got it. Okay. So
it's very uncommon.
Okay, that's fine. So let's talk about something here that used to be a bit of a not a big problem, a big issue, but a few years back when we were working together, 10 years back, it used to be a minor problem. And we are talking about design, we're talking about web design, we're talking about visuals. It used to be a problem. There used to be some sort of a cultural differences when you do a website, a web design for a Brazilian organization or for a South American organization as compared to a North American organization or an European organization. Is that still an issue? I mean, is the web design style from the different locations in the world different? Do you feel that?
Well, this is a very interesting question because in the past we had a lot of differences like this, but in the last 5 to 6 years, those differences kind of merge with each other. And they right now they almost disappear entirely. If I'm talking about mostly if we focus our attention in clients from Brazil, Canada, United States, and other countries from Latin America that I also provide work. So yes, in the past, it was a kind of an issue. There was a cultural difference, but I think this globalization of everything, of communication, of the processes, of the designs, it's kind of make everybody follow more or less the same trend. Because in the end, the business, the web business, is a global thing. So it's already have on itself a tendency to move towards
standards.
Let's say a single point. So no, in the past, yes. Right now, not anymore.
Okay, that's good. Good to know. Good to know that things, I guess that because of frameworks and standards, things got much easier on that side. Let me ask you this. if I ask you, and I'm gonna ask you, I want you to sell Brazil as an outsourcing place. Why should people? Because when you talk about outsourcing, we don't think right away, at least not in North America, not in Europe. We don't think right away in Brazil. We don't think much in Brazil. We think about, Philippines and India and Pakistan, but we don't think about Brazil. So why, in your opinion, should people consider outsourcing not only web design but outsourcing in general to a country like Brazil? Sell me Brazil.
Okay. Well, here in Brazil, we have a great tradition in programming and in design. The professionals here, there is a lot of professionals like this. There is a lot of colleges and high-profile courses and technical training that create a lot of excellent professionals here. Just to give you an example, here in Brazil, some years ago, you would find a lot of websites done with much greater quality than websites done in some European countries. So we have our, let's say, educational issues in other places, but not on information technology. Brazil have a lot of very good material for this, a lot of professionals, and they all pursue their training, their knowledge in English. So many of them can communicate reasonable well by emails, by chat, and they read a lot of material from English because they need to study and expand their expertise. So first, we have a lot of people. The second obvious reason is because our currency, our current currency, it's very much devaluated from the dollar. So we have a situation of 3-to-1 for each dollar. $1 by three of our currency, the real. So the cost can be also good. The professionals are great, and well, that's it. Good professionals, good price.
I'm gonna give you one more for you to consider. I'm trying to sell Brazil a little bit here. So what about time zone? Because time zone, I think it's a very positive aspect of Brazil as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, the time zones are great because if we consider let's say the United States East Coast, we are basically in the same time frame. Canada also. So of course, not even a client from the United States is in a nice time frame from, let's say, a guy from New York and a guy from California. They are very right, but let's say we are consider the United States and the whole American continent is East Coast. We are basically same time frame. So we are. It's not the situation that happens that's kind of crazy. When we work with customers from Australia and New Zealand, that is a crazy time zone that makes almost too impossible sometimes to organize meetings. So this is one of the advantages, of course.
Got it. Okay. Great one. So one of the points of this podcast, Tiago, which is called outsourcing, and ouch, because it can be a pain to do outsourcing. People have bad experiences with outsourcing providers. Now, my question to you is, how would you go about, and I'm not talking specifically about you and your team, but in general, how would you recommend that someone would go about testing a web design outsourcing company, an outsourcing professional? How would you recommend them to test them to see, hey, this is a good professional, or hey, that company, they are not doing a great job there? How would you go about, how would you recommend people to go about evaluating a web design professional or company?
Okay, the first thing that they should do is probably send a small task, a small job, just to get a feeling of how they communicate, how they work, and if they can deliver what they promise in the date, in the correct deadline. So this is the best method. This will allow the client to get a very nice feeling of the whole thing. One thing that I would like to comment about the outsourcing is that when you get, because we have bad companies and we have bad people that outsource. Most of the time, let's say there's official structure, let's say a company, established company versus outsource freelancing team. Both can get you a very bad job, and both can get you a very nice job. Many clients come to me and are running away from a company, a real company with an office, established office, and many employees that did an extremely poor job for them. So it's more a thing of a bad experience. Many clients are basically running away from companies and prefer a more, let's say, personal touch in having a person that they can rely on, and a person that they can communicate in a much more personal level. Just to give you an example, there is clients that work with me for more than 6 years. So, and in a personal communication level. So they know my name, I know their names, they always talk with me. They say happy birthday, I know their birthday also. We can go and talk on Skype. It's a person that they know that I'm always here. Of course, you will have bad freelancers, you will have bad professions in companies, because in the end, the big companies or the media companies or the freelancers, they are all web designers. Web designers that work there, and web designers that work outside those companies. So if they do not do a good job, they will not do a good job in any situation. If they do a good job, they will do a good job in any case. So that's it.
Okay, so what do you mean by a good job? A good job is what? Is it a good design? Is it about communication? What do you define as a good job?
Well, the good job in the end, to be quite honest, is what the client expects to receive. Because some clients will simply not. This is of course, this is a more a rare case, but some clients will not allow you to create for him a good design. He will make it impossible, totally impossible. They have a very specific image of what he wants. Most of the time, it is not the best design practice. We suggest the best design practice. We insist in this best design practice, but he may not consider this, and will be very happy to have it's not so good, let's say, not this design that it's not very nice, but it is exactly what he is looking for. So we need to suggest, we need to present him with a good design, but in the end, we need to deliver what he wants, even if it is not the best practice. But our responsibility here is suggest, recommend, and talk with him about it. Sometimes he will not listen or do not even consider it, but most of the times they will, and they will get an even better experience than what they imagine in the beginning of the process. So deliver what they want, and there is other aspects about a good job also. And one of those aspects, and most of the time it is the most important, and it is communication and commitment. Because it is possible that we go in a situation that we need to go in several interactions in order to do changes, fix things, and change how the project is going on. This may take time, and if your communication is good, your client will feel very safe. Okay, this guy, I send him a message, he replies to me in the same day or in the next day. He is always communicating. He is always talking with me. when he says that he will deliver in a specific date, he delivers in the specific date. This this will provide to the client a comfort zone. He will feel much more safe, even in projects that are very complicated. Because as I work with outsource, of course, I deal with companies that basically provide service to other companies. So a small business, let's say I provide my webdesign service to a consulting agency that is creating a website for a small business. So sometimes the end client is very complicated. So if I keep my communication going on, if I keep delivering the things in the specific dates, my client, that's not the end client, he will understand. He will feel that my work is doing great, even if the project is not going so well because of the end client. He's saying, okay, Tiago is doing a good job. He is communicating. He is working hard. He is he's trying his best. So he sees that, he feels safe, and he is trying to do the best for this complicated client. So. But some clients, sometimes, most of them see this as a quality. But some, if the project is not going well, but even if it is a fault of the end client, of the final client, some clients do not see this as a quality. And this is a big problem for them, not for us, because he will have a lot of trouble in order to find people to work with him, because in the first time that he gets in a difficult situation, he will not be able to correctly value the work of the people that are doing the job around him. So this is a big trouble. And I saw a case, just a funny, funny report.
I was about to ask you, do you have any horror story, anything that any story that you'd like to share that demonstrates a problem, and how you went around that, how you fixed that problem? Go ahead.
Okay, this kind of ugly situation happens. Thanks God, it happens only, let's say, once in a year or once in 2 years. But from time to time, some very complicated person show up. One case, it was not an international client. It was a client here from Brazil, from the state of Piauí. And this guy came to me. It was not design work for a website. It was a design work for an online system that he was creating. So he came to me, and the first thing that he says in the email, he finds my contact on LinkedIn and saw my profile there and everything else. Okay, and he contacted me. And the first thing that he said was, wow, Tiago, I already tried to do this work with 7 other web designers, and none of them did a good job. And I start to think with myself, oh my God, this will be a total disaster. But I do not refuse clients if they come to me. If I know how to do the job, I will accept. I will try hard and never give up as the tagline, never give up. Okay, we start the project, and very soon the issues start to appear, because the guy that came to me, he did not manage the project. His wife did. And what happened? His wife had not the technical expertise to understand minimally what I was doing. So even when I explain it, and it creates a lot of issues with communication. And when you create a lot of issues of communication, for the reason I said that communication is extremely and maybe the most important value, because if the communication gets messed up, the whole thing will go to a very bad road. So, well, we start the project. I start to perform some changes that she sent to me in the design of the system. And I explained to her that the original code that they provide to us was a total mess, Anderson. The original code was, and I know why, because it was it was messed up by 7 other people before me. So I said to her, oh, okay, it can be done, but the code is very, very messy. The changes that we would need to do here will take a long time, because there is many things to fix, many things to adjust, and some changes was very difficult to perform. So we started this, and I started to send to her some changes, and based on more or less what she communicates. Well, what happens is, in the first design interaction, I send the design changes to her, and she do not reply back to me. The person that replied back to me was her husband, already talking to me that why I did the changes like his wife asked for. So, and he appointed me a meeting to complain about why I was not doing the design changes that his wife asked for in the first interaction. So I tried to explain, sorry, but I was dealing with your wife, and I sent to her the changes. If they are not correct, please let me know where I did it wrong, because I tried to do it based on her comments, and the thing, I can assume now that the thing did not go so well, but I need you to supply me with the feedback. Feedback for me is very important. I need to know, just tell me, and I'll work on it ASAP, and let's move forward with it. So, well, the project go on, and basically every interaction gone through a situation like that. So, very complicated.
Let me ask you that. Was that the problem there? And again, let's forget about blaming. Let's not blame this, blame the client, or no, let's forget about that for a second. The problem was that most likely the individual, himself and his wife, they have gone so many times through bad experiences for various reasons that they were expecting you to deliver. I mean, at every new experience they had, it built up anxiety on them, and it built up that, hey, so they got very defensive. Correct? I mean, what's your take? What's your take on why they were like that?
Of course, this play a major role. This play a major role in their expectations. But what I feel, because some clients have a very, very big trouble in communication. So they have this issue, and the thing, if I will be very honest, if I would not be in the position of a person that they hire to do a service, I would really talk with them in a more personal level. Say, look, guys, you need to fix your communication. You are noticing that I am the eighth provider. After 7 designers, I am the number 8, and you still not getting the job done. Can you feel that maybe the problem is not with us, and maybe the problem is with you, and then how you handle the situations and how you deal with the person? Because some freelancers have a very bad habit. I do not have this habit. When they get in a situation like this, with a very nasty and complicated client, they just run away. They just run away. Companies do this kind of thing also, but in a different way. They masquerade this, but they also run away. But many freelancers, they run away. They get in with a very complicated person, they run away. It was not my case. I go on with them until the end. The end of this whole job was like this. The husband pay me nevertheless for the job, even it was not done the way that they was expecting. The wife did not speak with me anymore, even though I was trying to get from her feedback. The thing is, the difficulty of sending good feedback and explain correctly what they want. You will notice, Anderson, that I was dealing with a local client, so no language
No language barrier, no
So
language problems there.
so it's not what I learned from all these years is that it's the language. When you get let's say a sufficient amount of experience with it, if you deal with of complicated clients, the language barrier will not be the problem. The problem is how the communication is done.
I guess that Tiago, at the end of the day, it seems to be about setting expectations. You know,
Yes.
and I try to do that a lot with our clients as well. Is that, hey, this is what you should expect. In your case, you should expect that I will require feedback from you. I will ask you, you know, what's your opinion about that. So again, it at the end it boils down to communication. Let's shift the conversation. You know, you mentioned about the a horror story there. Thank you for that. Let's shift the conversation a little bit here towards a different direction. So far we have spoken about you as an outsourcing provider. You provide outsourcing services, you know, web design, web development services to companies. But you also hire people. You also subcontract work. So let's talk about, no, let's put the hat now of someone that hires people that outsource work to. So when you go and outsource and you work with some local people, what are the most common mistakes that you see your local guys that you work with that they do, and how you go about fixing that?
Yes, well, but locally, it's more of a cultural characteristic. The people do the work well, they do the job well, but they have let's say a big issue that it's cultural here in Brazil. That's let's say they set a delivery date, and they always think that is a kind of a flexible thing. You know, I set the delivery date for Monday, but they think it's okay to deliver on Tuesday. So I try to be very specific about that from the beginning, or I go in a smart method. I set the delivery date for them for Monday, but I set the delivery date for my end client for Wednesday. So to be quite honest, I'm using this strategy a lot because it released me from the pain to have bad conversations and keep the guy quiet, calm, in a total peace. So I do that. It's a cultural thing. It's not because the guy is an irresponsible person, but he worked all his life like this, even on companies. I already worked with companies here before I start to work in my own business. The companies here also think like that, also work like that. I let's say when I work in a company, everybody delivers the thing if in the next day. So it's a cultural thing. It's not the guy, but so I adjust my time frame I put the Australian time zone for me in order to help me out here, and I reduce the problem. There's others. So it's basically the big issue. The second thing is because the professionals, they have very different expertise. So you need to try. At least I try a lot. I try to make the job to get the help from them in small pieces. Let's say maybe I will not ask him to do the whole the design plus HTML, CSS, JavaScript plus the PHP for, let's say, for WordPress. No, just do for me until the HTML, CSS. I will take care of the rest. So I outsource, I get the guy to help me. He released me a lot of hours. This is one thing that's very efficient. Of course, it's great to have a person that will take care of everything. But most of the time, this is not possible. So if you get the guy to do for you a major part of the job, take that. This is a very nice strategy. So I think this is the two characteristics that I would like to highlight on this.
Got it. I love it. I love it. Again, you were very honest there. You're not afraid of calling out the some of the bad habits with Brazilians like us, but like the punctuality. Not a problem for me. Not a problem for you. I just want to highlight that. But for everybody else,
For everybody else.
for everybody else. Now, let me ask you this. We're coming towards an end here, Tiago. So, if there is one thing about outsourcing and specifically to Brazil, no, in regards to web design as well, is there one thing that you love that people that have listened to this interview, to this conversation, if there's one thing that they could live here with and you would be happy about that, what would be your one thing here out of this conversation?
Well, it's basically it's more like about the freelance, the outsourced work. You can get a lot of benefits from it. You should try to find a team that can work very close with you, that can become a real partner for you. If you try, you will find it, and you will notice in the end that you will save more money, and you have a much more reliable person that can be much more flexible, because in the end, the freelancers, the outsourcers, they are much more flexible than a fixed, real big company. They can do much more for you, and even go, because I will talk about my own experience on this. I go very far on this flexibility thing, very far indeed, because I even go to the extent to, let's say, a partner can to me, and he says, because on web design and development, there is a lot of different platforms, different modules, different systems, different everything that need to be done. And many people have a lot of, let's say, different needs of platforms sometimes that you never heard about. So sometimes the client says, hey, I need you to create for me a website on this Guka Jinga Monkey Kongi platform. What? Where did you find this? So I try to show to the clients, no, you should try to use DNN, you should try to use WordPress. They are excellent platforms, but if it is not possible, and even if I don't know the serves, I will get to him and be very honest. Look, I don't know. I never worked before with this platform, but I will use here my usual strategy. All those platforms work with HTML, with CSS, and they follow a certain logic. I can learn that for you and work with you as a partner on this project. I will charge you a lesser price, because for me it will be nice, because I will learn a new skill. You will get your job done, and you will also not pay too much for a job done for a person that has not experienced the exact experience on this. So this is the kind of flexibility that I provide. This is the kind of flexibility I'm willing to do. It works for me very nice in a way of expand the kind of things that I can do, and be honest with the client at the same time. So this is the message that I have. Try to find a team, try to find a person to work with, and transform this person in your partner, and he will be.
Perfect. Very good message. So, just to finalize, where can people find you on the web? I mean, tell me how people can reach out to you if they have design work, if they have more questions, if they have more, how?
Well, you can go to TopDesignTeam.com. It's basically my outsourced team website. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn is nice because we have there my client recommendations and all my skills recommended and stuff like that. You can search for Tiago Tavares there. And that's it, topdesignteam.com. And on my LinkedIn, feel free to send me a message and let's talk.
Perfect. Tiago, it was really a big pleasure talking to you. As I said, you're a longtime friend, and we have worked together for many years. and it's great to see where you are with your career, with your business, with your life, and I'm very glad to have had this conversation with you. Thank you very much, my friend. Bye.
Thank you.